Can I ask you something a little personal? Have you ever walked into your kitchen, opened the fridge, and then stood there, not quite sure what you were looking for? Or maybe you've put down your glasses and minutes later you find yourself searching in every corner of the house. We laugh and say, that's just age. But what if it's not just age? As a neurologist with over 30 years of experience, I can tell you this. Memory loss is not always a normal part of getting older. Sometimes it is your brain's way of whispering for help. And one of the hidden culprits may be something you've taken many times in your life, antibiotics. A recent study in South Korea followed more than 300,000 adults. It showed that people who used antibiotics for longer periods had a much higher chance of developing dementia. Another study from Harvard confirmed the same. This is not just science on paper. This is real life for millions of families. But I want you to remember, I am not here to scare you. I am here to guide you, to protect your brain before it needs saving. And together we will talk about small, gentle changes that can bring hope back into your daily life. If you've ever experienced memory slips, write number 1 in the comments. If not, write number 0. I want to hear from you because your story matters. Number 1, understanding dementia, the hidden threat. Dementia is one of the most misunderstood conditions I see in my patients. Many people think it is simply about forgetting names or misplacing car keys. But dementia is much more than occasional forgetfulness. It is a syndrome that affects memory, thinking, judgment, language, and even the ability to carry out daily tasks that once felt simple. The most common form of dementia is Alzheimer's disease, which accounts for about 60 to 70% of all cases. But there are other forms too, such as vascular dementia, which is caused by problems with blood flow to the brain. Each type has its challenges, but all share one painful truth. Dementia steals independence, not just memory. Here in the United States, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has estimated that more than 6 million Americans are living with Alzheimer's disease today, and the number is rising. By the year 2050, that figure is projected to nearly double, placing enormous stress on families and the healthcare system. I have sat with countless families who struggle not only with the emotional weight of watching a loved one fade, but also the practical burden of care. For seniors over 60, these changes can feel especially frightening. Imagine being unable to remember how to get back home after a short walk. Imagine standing at your doorstep, but forgetting which key to use. These moments are not just inconveniences. They are daily reminders that something deeper is happening in the brain. But I want you to hear this. Dementia is not an inevitable part of aging. Yes, age is a risk factor, but not everyone will develop dementia. And that is where awareness matters most. The earlier we recognize the signs, the better chance we have to slow progression, to adapt, and to preserve quality of life. So let me ask you, have you or someone close to you ever experienced memory lapses that felt unusual or concerning? If yes, share your story in the comments. Your voice may comfort another person watching today who feels they are not alone. Number 2, the South Korean study, antibiotics and dementia risk. Science often confirms what experience whispers. As a neurologist, I have long suspected that the medicines we use to fight one problem may quietly create another. The recent research from Seoul National University Hospital brought this truth into sharp focus. Between the years 2002 and 2005, a team led by Dr. Park Sang-min studied more than 300,000 adults over the age of 40. They carefully compared medical records, looking at how many days each person was prescribed antibiotics. What they found was both surprising and deeply concerning. Those who used antibiotics for more than 91 days faced a 44% higher risk of developing dementia compared with those who had not been prescribed antibiotics at all. Even more striking, among the antibiotic users, the incidence of Alzheimer's disease rose by 46%. These numbers are not just statistics. They represent fathers, mothers, neighbors, and friends whose lives changed dramatically. Now, let me pause here. Antibiotics are life-saving medicines. They protect us from infections that once killed millions. I'm not saying we should fear them, but the study reminds us that long-term use carries hidden consequences. Our brains are delicate, and when exposed repeatedly to certain drugs, subtle damage can accumulate over time. What makes this study powerful is not only its scale, but also its careful adjustment for other factors such as age, smoking, alcohol use, and common diseases. In other words, this increased risk was not simply explained by unhealthy habits. Antibiotic use itself was an independent contributor. As I think of my patients in the United States, I see the parallels. Too often, antibiotics are given when not truly needed, sometimes requested by patients eager for quick relief, sometimes prescribed by doctors under pressure. And in the long run, it is the brain that may pay the price. So I encourage you to reflect on your own experience. Have you ever taken antibiotics for weeks at a time, maybe for repeated infections? If so, how did your body respond? Share with us in the comments because your journey may help another viewer make sense of their own. Number 3, the Harvard study, Antibiotics in Midlife, Memory in Later Life. When I meet patients in their 60s or 70s, many of them tell me, "Doctor, my memory just started slipping these past few years." But what most people do not realize is that the groundwork for cognitive decline often begins decades earlier. The Harvard Medical School study published in the journal PLOS One is a powerful reminder of that truth. Researchers followed more than 14,000 women, paying close attention to their use of antibiotics during midlife, a period defined as around the ages of 50 to 54. Years later, the same women were tested on key cognitive abilities, including attention, learning, memory, and psychomotor speed, which is the ability to quickly respond to changes in the environment. The results were sobering. Women who had longer exposure to antibiotics during midlife showed a measurable decline in these brain functions about 7 years later. The decline was not small. It was equivalent to the brain aging an extra 3 to 4 years. Imagine losing the sharpness of your mind, not because of natural aging alone, but because of choices made in your 50s. Now, let us be clear. This does not mean that every course of antibiotics leads to memory loss. Antibiotics remain one of the greatest achievements of modern medicine. But what the Harvard study highlights is the importance of balance. When used excessively, especially during key periods of life, antibiotics may accelerate changes in the brain that would otherwise unfold more slowly. This finding resonates deeply with what I see in my clinic. Patients often come in believing memory decline happens suddenly. In reality, it is the result of small, accumulated shifts over time. And one of those shifts may be tied to the gut-brain connection, a system profoundly affected by antibiotics. So let me ask you, if you think back to your midlife years, how often were antibiotics a part of your daily or yearly health routine? Were they used sparingly, or were they taken frequently for infections? Reflecting on this question may help you understand the patterns your brain is showing today. And please share your reflections in the comments. Your story could shine a light for someone else watching tonight. Number 4, why antibiotics affect the brain. The gut-brain connection. One of the most fascinating areas of science in recent years has been the discovery of the gut-brain connection. Your digestive system is not just about breaking down food. It is home to trillions of bacteria that communicate with your brain every single day. Some scientists call it your second brain. When antibiotics are taken for a short period, they clear infections that threaten your health. But when they are taken for long stretches, they do something else too. They wipe out large parts of this delicate community of bacteria. Imagine your gut as a vibrant garden full of flowers, herbs, and soil that work together. A single storm may bend the plants, but a series of storms can flatten the entire field. That is what long-term antibiotics can do to your gut. And here is the key. When the gut ecosystem is disrupted, it sends distress signals to the brain. Research shows that an unhealthy gut microbiome can increase inflammation, weaken memory, and even change mood. This helps explain why prolonged antibiotic use is now being linked to dementia and Alzheimer's disease. Over the years, I have had patients who struggled not only with memory, but also with digestion, energy, and mood swings after repeated antibiotic treatments. Once we focused on restoring gut health with diet and lifestyle, many found their clarity of thought improving alongside their physical strength. Now let me pause and talk directly to you. Have you ever noticed changes in your digestion or your mood after a long course of antibiotics? Did you feel more tired, more forgetful, or simply not yourself? If you have, please share your story in the comments below. You may be surprised how many people in this community have walked the same road, and your words could give them comfort. I want you to remember this truth. Your brain and your body are always talking to each other. By protecting the health of your gut, you are protecting the health of your mind. That is not just theory, that is lived experience, proven by both science and real patients. And it is a reminder that even small changes, like supporting your gut with healthy foods, can make a world of difference for your memory and your future. Number 5, common mistakes with antibiotics. Antibiotics save lives. There is no doubt about that. But in my 30 years of practice, I have seen the same mistakes repeated again and again. And these mistakes are not only harmful to the body, but as we now know, may also harm the brain. The first mistake is using antibiotics when they are not needed. Many people believe antibiotics can cure a cold or the flu, but these illnesses are caused by viruses. Antibiotics target bacteria, not viruses. Taking them for the wrong condition does not help you recover faster. It only exposes your gut and brain to unnecessary stress. The second mistake is stopping antibiotics too soon. Patients sometimes feel better after a few days and decide to quit before finishing the prescription. This is dangerous because it leaves behind stronger bacteria that can become resistant. Resistant bacteria are harder to treat, and the cycle of infection and medication begins again. The third mistake is saving leftover antibiotics for later or sharing them with family members. I once had a patient who kept half-used bottles in the medicine cabinet, thinking they might come in handy. Instead, this habit led to repeated courses of the wrong drugs for the wrong problems. And over time, his memory decline was noticeably faster than expected for his age. The fourth mistake, which may be the most common, is pressuring doctors for antibiotics even when the infection is mild or uncertain. I understand the desire for quick relief. Pain, fever, or coughing can make you feel desperate for action. But giving in to this pressure creates a pattern where antibiotics are overused, and the hidden cost is carried by your body, especially your brain. Now, let me ask you gently, have you ever stopped a course of antibiotics early or kept leftovers for next time? Be honest. Many of us have. Share in the comments if you recognize yourself in this. By talking openly, we not only heal ourselves, but also help others avoid the same mistakes. Antibiotics are powerful tools, but like any tool, they must be used wisely. By avoiding these common errors, you protect not only your immediate health, but also the strength of your brain for the years to come. Number 6, lessons learned. Beyond antibiotics, other risk factors. While the studies on antibiotics are powerful and concerning, it is important to remember that dementia does not have a single cause. Antibiotics may be one piece of the puzzle, but other lifestyle and medical factors often work together to shape the brain's future. Understanding this bigger picture gives us more tools for prevention and hope. One of the strongest risk factors is cardiovascular health. The World Health Organization and the American Heart Association have both emphasized that conditions such as high blood pressure, diabetes, and heart disease increase the likelihood of dementia later in life. Why? Because the brain depends on healthy blood vessels to deliver oxygen and nutrients. When blood flow is restricted, brain cells slowly lose their vitality. Lifestyle also plays a major role. Physical inactivity, smoking, and heavy alcohol use are all linked to cognitive decline. A diet high in processed foods and sugars can accelerate inflammation in both the body and the brain. On the other hand, daily movement, nutritious meals, and restful sleep act like daily medicine. Simple but powerful protectors of memory. I have often told my patients, think of your brain as part of a team. Antibiotics may be one player, but so are your heart, your diet, your sleep, and your habits. If one teammate struggles, the whole system weakens. But when each member is supported, your brain thrives. Now let me turn this back to you. Reflect for a moment. Beyond medications, what habits in your daily life might be quietly adding stress to your brain? Is it a lack of exercise, poor sleep, or too much processed food? Sharing your honest reflections in the comments, it could inspire someone else to make a small but meaningful change. The lesson here is simple, yet powerful. Antibiotics are not the only factor to watch. Protecting brain health is about the whole lifestyle, the whole person. And that means every small choice, walking after dinner, choosing a piece of fruit instead of a sweet pastry, or turning off the TV at a little earlier to rest, is an act of prevention, a step toward a clearer, stronger mind. Number 7, practical prevention steps for seniors. Awareness is powerful, but awareness alone is not enough. What matters most is what we do with it. For seniors, protecting the brain means building small, steady habits that reduce risk and strengthen resilience. The good news is that these steps are not complicated. They are daily choices that can bring comfort, stability, and clarity. First, use antibiotics wisely. If your doctor prescribes them, ask questions. This truly necessary? Are there alternatives? Never pressure a physician for antibiotics when they are not needed, and never use leftovers from an old prescription. Protecting your brain starts with protecting your gut, and that means respecting the power of these medicines. Second, nourish your body with brain-friendly foods, leafy greens, berries, fatty fish like salmon, walnuts, and almonds provide the omega-3 fatty acids and antioxidants your brain thrives on. Limit processed foods, sugary snacks, and heavy alcohol intake. Think of each healthy meal as another layer of armor around your memory. Third, move your body daily. Walking just 20 to 30 minutes a day improves circulation, strengthens muscles, and keeps your brain alert. I have seen patients who regain balance, confidence, and sharper memory simply by making walking a daily ritual. Add light strength training if possible. Even gentle chair exercises can help fight muscle loss and protect independence. Fourth, respect your sleep. The brain repairs itself during rest. Aim for 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep each night. Create a calming routine. Dim the lights, avoid heavy meals before bed, and allow your body to enter a rhythm of healing. And finally, protect your mind with social connections. Isolation can be as damaging to the brain as a poor diet or lack of exercise. Stay engaged with friends, family, or community groups. Share stories, laugh often, and keep your spirit alive. Let me ask you, which of these steps feels easiest for you to begin today? Is it walking after dinner, adding more greens to your plate, or turning off the television earlier at night? Write your answer in the comments, and let's support each other in building stronger habits. Prevention does not require perfection. It only requires consistency. Every small choice adds up to a healthier brain and a brighter tomorrow. Number 8, healing perspective, hope and encouragement. When I sit with my patients, one of the most common feelings they share is fear. Fear that memory loss means the end of independence. Fear that dementia is inevitable. But here is the truth I want you to hold close. While we cannot control every factor, we can shape much of our future with the choices we make today. I have seen seniors who once struggled with daily tasks regain clarity and confidence by making steady, gentle changes. One woman in her 70s, who had been on antibiotics for recurring infections, began focusing on gut health, daily walking, and better sleep. Within months, her energy improved, her mood lifted, and her family noticed her memory was sharper. She was not cured, but she was stronger, and she felt hope again. Hope is as essential as any medicine. When we believe our efforts matter, our brain responds with resilience. The body is wise. It knows how to heal when given the right support. And your support does not have to be dramatic. Small acts, choosing water instead of soda, calling a friend, or stretching each morning, can create ripples of change that add up over time. I want you to remember that you are not alone in this journey. Millions of families across America are walking the same path, facing the same worries, and searching for the same answers. By sharing your voice here, by commenting and encouraging each other, we create not just a channel, but a community of healing. So let me ask you, what gives you hope when you think about your health? Is it the love of your grandchildren, the joy of gardening, or the dream of traveling again? Share that in the comments. You may inspire someone who feels uncertain to believe that healing is possible for them too. Your brain is not your enemy. It is your lifelong companion. And even in the later years, it can be nourished, protected, and strengthened. Hold on to hope, because hope, along with action, is the greatest medicine of all. Number 9, rebuilding the gut and brain connection. We have talked about how antibiotics can damage the delicate balance between your gut and your brain. But here is the hopeful part. balance can be restored. The body has a remarkable ability to heal when given the right support. And one of the most effective ways to rebuild this connection is through the foods we choose every day. Think of your gut as a garden. If antibiotics act like a storm that wipes out flowers and soil, then probiotics and prebiotics are the seeds and fertilizers that bring life back. Foods like yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, and kimchi are natural probiotics. They introduce healthy bacteria back into your system. At the same time, prebiotics, found in foods like garlic, onions, bananas, and oats, feed those good bacteria and help them flourish. I once worked with a patient in her late 60s who had frequent digestive issues after repeated antibiotic use. She often felt tired, foggy, and forgetful. Instead of adding more medicine, we focused on adding more living foods to her diet: a daily cup of yogurt with berries, a bowl of oatmeal with sliced banana, and a small portion of fermented vegetables with dinner. Within weeks, she noticed her digestion calming down, her energy rising, and her memory feeling sharper. This is not magic. This is science. A healthy gut produces compounds that reduce inflammation and nourish the brain. Each bite of wholesome food becomes a message of healing sent directly to your nervous system. Now let me ask you, have you ever noticed how your mood or energy changes after eating certain foods? Maybe a heavy processed meal left you sluggish, while a fresh salad or a bowl of soup made you feel lighter and clearer. Share your experiences in the comments, because your story may inspire someone else to make one small change today. Rebuilding the gut-brain connection is not about perfection. It is about consistency. A spoonful of yogurt, a handful of nuts, a little more fiber on your plate. These are the tools your body uses to restore harmony. And by nurturing your gut, you are nurturing your brain, protecting your memory, and taking one more step toward a brighter, stronger future. When we talk about brain health, we often focus on medicine, diet, and exercise. All of those matter deeply. But after 3 decades of working with seniors, I can tell you that one of the greatest protectors of memory is not found in a pill bottle or a gym. It is found in community and purpose. Isolation is one of the hidden dangers of aging. Studies published in the New York Times and reported by the National Institute on Aging have shown that loneliness increases the risk of dementia and heart disease as much as physical inactivity or smoking. Older adults who remain socially engaged live longer and stay sharper compared to those who withdraw. The science is clear. Connection protects the brain. I have seen this firsthand. One of my patients, a man in his early 70s, lived alone after his wife passed. His memory was slipping, and he often forgot appointments. We began encouraging him to join a local community gardening group. Within months, not only did his mood improve, but his memory became more reliable. Planting tomatoes and chatting with neighbors gave his days structure, joy, and meaning. His brain responded to the purpose his life regained. Purpose is not about achieving something grand. It is about waking up with a reason to use your mind and body. It might be reading to your grandchildren, volunteering at a local church, caring for a pet, or simply tending to a garden. Each act of purpose strengthens the neural pathways of resilience. Now let me ask you directly, what gives you purpose today? What small joy or responsibility makes you feel sane, needed, and connected? Write it in the comments below. Your story may touch someone else who is still searching for meaning in their own life. As you move forward, I want you to hold on to this truth. Your brain is not only a machine, it is part of your human story, and that story can still grow, heal, and shine, no matter your age. If you have felt discouraged by memory slips or the fear of dementia, please remember this. Change is always possible. Your brain is resilient. With small steps, nourishing food, gentle exercise, community, and wise choices, you can slow decline and even restore strength. I have walked this journey with many patients, and I have seen hope return where fear once lived. You are not alone, and you are never without options. After you finish watching, I encourage you to pause for a moment. Reflect on what matters most to you, your health, your family, your dreams for the years ahead. Share your feelings in the comments. By opening up, you may give courage to someone else who is quietly struggling. Together, we can turn fear into healing and isolation into community. Your mornings, your choices, and your brain all matter. Protect your brain before it needs saving. And if you want to take one more powerful step, join me in the next video. Hidden stroke triggers you must recognize before it's too late. Click the link and let's uncover the everyday triggers that could silently increase your risk of stroke. Knowing them could save your life or the life of someone you love.